When I was in primary school, I did RE. I probably wasn't listening to all of it. I didn't really understand it much. It was kind of more, there's this guy called Jesus and he died for us and he could do miracles. I didn't know why he came here, what he did for me specifically. I thought it was just kind of back then all this stuff happened. So I didn't really understand what it all really meant for me on a deeper level. In grade 5 or 6, I had 2 friends and they weren't Christian, and then I was hanging out with them and they were against it. The ideas that other people had about it not being real, about it being bad for people and all the bad stories people have, it being very against a lot of people, the church doing bad things and covering stuff up. I just kind of took them on without thinking about it. I was nah, God isn't real. Not just I don't believe it, but more I'm against it. It kind of makes the world worse. I tell people why it's wrong. Why would a God who's so loving flood the whole earth? The usual why do bad things happen if God's there kind of thing. There weren't very many religious people in high school. I didn't really know what happened at church or where churches even were around my area or anything like that. My family wasn't Christian. All the people around me weren't Christian. So everything they said about it being hateful, I just could sort of assumed was the truth. So I took it on a personal level. In grade 11 to 12, there were Christians in my friend group, and then my best friend started going more towards it as well. It kind of just kept going forward and forward over time. When I was first invited to youth, really kicked it all off, and then from then on, everything kind of changed. The people that were there and how kind they were changed my opinion on well, maybe they're not so bad as a group of people and all that. So it kind of just opened my eyes, and then from learning more about the Bible, thinking about how I kind of I don't know how to word it, but sort of how I wasn't doing anything that was said to be good in it. There wasn't really anything I was doing that the Bible was for. I don't know, it just kind of blew me away. It was kind of mind-blowing to me to think that he would still love someone who was openly talking against him and telling him he was bad and trying to turn other people away from him, and he'd still love me and take me in. It kind of dawned on me how big the reason he died was, to take everything, even all the bad things we do, it can all be forgiven. The kindness was a big part, just how kind he was to anyone, no matter what, and how loving he was. He loves everyone more than you can even imagine. No matter what he does, there's a reason for it. The fact that Jesus died and went through all that pain kind of was a big realization. So anything that's really I think is really bad on this earth, and the reality of it kind of it just doesn't even compare. First of all, what Jesus went through, and then also how good heaven is. I had a talk with one of my leaders. From that point, I was just I'm saved by him, no matter what. The way I see things now, it's changed my opinions on a lot of things. When someone tells me something, I see it through a different lens. The way I'm acting, it's changed a lot compared to what it used to be, especially with stuff swearing and that. I've managed to get a large part of it out, most of it at least. There's still a lot I have to change, but it's a lot has already changed. Even knowing if I fall back pretty far from time to time, he's still there. I can always keep going forward again. There's no I fall back so far and then I'm cut out of it. And there'll always be that forgiveness there, and he still loves me. It's very lonely without God. There's so much you gain from having him there with you. It makes you feel a lot less distance from everything, and it kind of gives you more of a purpose. There's a reason that you're there.